All right, the Padres, they take game one against the A's in Sacramento. 5-4 is the final, and you had some big guys in this Padres lineup contributing to this win. There was a big guy that was not in the lineup, and that was Jackson Merrill. I'll get to the update on him, and there's an update on Joe Musgrove. I'll get to that here in a little bit. But Manny started off with that double. It wasn't hit very hard, but that scored Luis Arias, made it 1-0. It was great to see Crony take that, I think it was a hanging breaking ball, middle of the plate, take it over the wall, made it 3-0. And it was like, all right, you got Michael King on the mound, 3-0 lead, settle in, and there you go. But I don't think that Michael King was his best. He also wasn't getting the best calls in this game either. He ends up not being able to go through 5 2/3, 8 hits, 3 earned runs, a couple of walks, gave up that homer to Tyler Soderstrom. Soderstrom homered twice in this game. And yeah, I think there's a better version of Michael King, obviously, than what we saw today. The better version, obviously, was the middle outing so far of his 3 outings this year, that middle outing. Going up against Luis Severino, I thought it was probably going to be a little bit tough, but it is a smaller ballpark, that minor league ballpark that they're playing in, Sutter Health Park, home of the AAA Giants affiliate. And so I thought maybe that would help the Padres, and it did with the home runs here today. But Manny, a harder hit double in the top of the third to make it 4-0. Then Soderstrom with that homer made it 4-1. Max Muncy, the other Max Muncy doubles. It's 4-2, 4-3 on Lawrence Butler's single. That was in that same inning in the bottom of the fourth. And then Tatis, holy cow, he demolished. He crapped on that ball. That ball went on top of the Padres. I think that's where the visiting clubhouse is. Could be wrong. But I think that white building, that ball was crushed. You leave it there to Tatis, yeah, good luck. That is probably going to be the highlight of the night, just in Major League Baseball world. In terms of home runs, that ball just off the bat, my reaction was, holy. I mean, that was my reaction. You could tell, I was just amazed, as a lot of other Padres fans were, at how much he just, crapped on that ball. Soderstrom with his second homer, though, made it 5-4. So that Tatis home run obviously was big, because instead of 4-3, it was 5-3. Without that home run, we're sitting in a tie game, and who knows what's going to happen there. But shout out to this bullpen again. Morahone comes in relief of Michael King, gets his job done. I know it was only 1 out, but it was a big out, obviously, because King was in some trouble there, gets the strikeout. Then Estrada comes in an inning. I know he gave up a run, but Adam and Suarez after that. And I don't want to take Robert Suarez's start to this season for granted, because if we remember, there were some struggles at the end of last year, but before that, he was really good. And if that's the same Suarez that we're getting for the majority of this season, we're going to be in a really good spot, bullpen-wise. I feel like sometimes it's like, yeah, that's what he's supposed to do. Have the lead, come in, get the 3 outs, boom, game over, let's go. But you're not going to be perfect every time. And so for Suarez to start off the season like this, where he already has 5 saves, Padres now improved to 9-2. I believe they're first place in the division. Not that matters right now, but just throwing it out there. And to not have any earned runs allowed so far, I think that is him and Jason Adam, by the way. That deserves praise. And I know those 2 guys, we have that expectation for them, especially in a smaller sample size, that they should do that job. But that they're doing it, we should still praise them. And I'm definitely going to there. Now, with Jackson Merrill, actually, before getting to Merrill and Musgrove, just overall with this game and this ballpark, I wasn't able to watch the entire game because of work, so hopefully I'll be able to watch the entire game tomorrow. But I thought it was appealing on television. I wonder if there were any Padres fans that went to this game tonight in Sacramento. You can let me know your thoughts on the ballpark in the comments. Obviously, it's not a major league park. Manny was saying post game how weird it felt that the guys were walking out to the clubhouse, because it's beyond, I think, the left field fence, left center field, whatever. Walking out instead of just going into the clubhouse, that's connected to the dugout. That's not how it is. So it's a little bit of a spring training vibe to it where guys, they, they bring their bags a little, maybe some of them brought their bags with you just so you don't forget anything. Because if you forget something, you're not going to go immediately going to be able to just go grab it from your locker. That's not how it works in Sacramento. But I liked just the visuals of the fans sitting on the grass. Um, yeah, if I had the opportunity to go, if someone was giving me the tickets, I'd go, but I'm not giving money to John Fisher, so I would opt out. I would not be paying money to go watch the Padres play the A's in Sacramento. Just wouldn't be happening. But it seems like it's a unique experience, and the Padres, they're taking advantage so far of the environment, the probably favorable to the batters, the what do you call it? Um, just the ballpark dimensions. That's what I was looking for. That word. But yeah, no Merrill. I think that's also something that we should note. Like no Merrill, and the Padres found a way to win this game. Now, if you didn't know and you were wondering why Jackson Merrill was out, it seems like it's precautionary. I didn't think that Merrill was playing hurt against the Cubs over the weekend, but it's a tightness in his right hamstring. So he was held out of the lineup today. Who knows what's going to happen? I wouldn't be surprised because think about it. You're playing the A's, right? Win this series, hopefully sweep, but you have enough talent to go sweep this A's team, I think, or at least win the series. And if you win the series, let's say they take 2 out of 3, then they would be 10-3 going back home. Like, okay, you'll take it, I would think. You want the sweep, but it's a long season. So would I rather have Jackson Merrill against the A's not play this series, and then you have the off day Thursday, so that could give him an extra day. I think the Padres, you could see them do that instead of have him play on Wednesday, day game Wednesday, and then have an off day. Why not go off day, off day, off day, off day, team off day, that final off day, and then be ready to go when the Rockies come to town starting on Friday back at Petco. That's probably what I would do. I'm fine with Lockridge down there at the bottom of the order for now for 3 games, now 2 games. You won this one. Um, like you have Tatis, you have Arias who had another couple hits tonight. If anyone was worried about him, which I don't think we were, but if anyone was, he shouldn't be anymore. Manny with a couple of hits, Crony with a homer, obviously. Like, and Bogart's got a hit off of Sevy, which he has struggled against Sevy in his career. They have the guys, I think, that you can beat the A's. So I would personally, if it's a tight hamstring and you want to get ahead of it, and I'm reading from Kevin Acee, he could miss the next day or two. Yeah, miss the next couple of days because you have that off day Thursday. It's a 162 game season. Jackson Merrill is one of the most important players for the Padres' success. So I'm not going to be messing with this, especially early on when you have other guys healthy that can play. You're playing in a minor league ballpark. You're not playing one of the best teams in baseball. You have Dylan Cease tomorrow. I think that helps. It's not like it's Kyle Hart. I think you trust your guys and go win that game without Jackson Merrill, like you were able to do today. So that's Merrill. I'm not like worried about this because it does seem like they are getting ahead of it. And Merrill did look fine in that Chicago series. Did the weather have an impact? Yeah, it did. Playing in Sacramento, I think like right out of the get-go, right out of the gate, we could tell the difference. And it was like, all right, yep, this is the Padres. They're back to hitting. They're back, Nando was talking to Kevin, I think, yesterday after the game, like saying how much he hates the cold. Are they gonna play in the cold in the postseason? Yeah, maybe. Maybe they have to go to New York. Maybe they have to go to Philly or Chicago even. Who knows? But most of their games are going to be played in good weather. And so the Padres playing in good weather, it's going to set up well for the Padres. And so much better weather in Sacramento. And it's not in the, mid-July when they're playing, or June or whatever, August, when they're playing in Sacramento. Only one of these games are day games. It's pretty good circumstances, a good situation for the Padres to go maybe even sweep this series. So, Joe Musgrove update. He did throw a baseball for the first time since undergoing Tommy John surgery. Physically, it felt great, Musgrove said. He made 25 relatively light intensity throws at a distance of 60 feet. The plan is for him to throw again on Wednesday and then throw again on Friday. So every other day this week, maybe throw Sunday, but that's not written in this article. But if it's every other day, then maybe he'd throw Sunday as well. But maybe he takes some time off and then you take an extra day off, maybe progress, and then start throwing a little bit further. Or you stay at the 60 and then just increase the intensity before you start going further. That's probably what they would do. But here's Musgrove. Mentally, it feels really good to get to this point. It's been a long time since I've been able to pick up a baseball and actually throw it, a real baseball. I'm just thinking about all the work I've done over the last 6 months and trying to process everything. Let's see here. You can read all about this from Kevin Acee in the UT, but just trying to throw out some important information here. Yeah, so he'll probably remain at the 60 feet distance for another week or so before increasing the distance and intensity incrementally. A typical Tommy John rehab program would not have him throwing off a mound until at least late July. And we're in early April. So that's a while. Musgrove, though, says, I feel like I'm ready to throw a little bit further, but I understand the process. I've been very smart about it so far, and I don't want to screw it up now. So I'm going to stay on the program. Yes, stay on the program, Joe. He's aiming to be an opener or pitch out of the bullpen for the Padres in October. I mean, it's early April, though, and he's throwing. I know it's light intensity, but that's April, May, June, July, August, September. That's 6 months, less than 6 months, but almost 6 months of building up to be able to throw. So, to be honest, I'm not going to leave it off the table. I'm going to still have it on the table that he will start in October in the postseason. Now, it's probably going to depend on the circumstances, like the Padres rotation and who's healthy and stuff. And obviously Musgrove's health. There could be setbacks. But it's not like it's May when he's just starting to throw here, or June and he's just starting to throw. Obviously, I'm not a doctor. I don't know a ton about the Tommy John rehab and how every single step, right, that he has to go through. But for me, just sitting here as a Padres fan on April 7th, and he's already starting to throw here, again, it's light intensity, but he's throwing. For me, that's a long time before October comes around. So, yes, definitely on the table that he pitches. And I'm not even taking it off the table that he starts for the Padres in the postseason. The Padres would probably say no to that right now, and they'd be laughing at me about that. But it's Joe Musgrove. And so I'm not going to, just take something off the table because of, who this guy is and his work ethic and him hopefully staying on the program and doing whatever he can to make sure that he nails this rehab. Let's see. Musgrove's obviously been with the team. We know that. He's been watching video, attending the pitchers' meetings, offering insight. We know that. But yeah, Musgrove called today a big day. I don't know if I've got the words for it yet, he said. You always have the ideas of how your surgeries are going to go and what you think you're capable of. And I feel like I kind of met my own expectations in terms of being able to get to this day with no setbacks and with no pain. It was going to be difficult for me if this day came and I wasn't feeling physically ready. It would have been hard for me to be like, I need more time. I would have wanted to take the ball and start throwing anyway. So I feel very grateful that I feel as good as I do at this phase and just kind of continuing on with the same process I've been on, just one day at a time and making sure I'm doing everything I can. And, I just have confidence in Joe because it's not like this is some dude that doesn't have, the connection to San Diego. Growing up a Padres fan, we know the story. The commitment, hasn't made it to a World Series, hasn't won a World Series for the city. Like, don't know how many more years he's going to have in a Padres uniform. I'm not saying he's 39, but you just don't know. And so I don't question his commitment. He's one of the guys that I just will never question his commitment and his care, that care factor. Now, caring too much in a rehab process and, wanting to go more than what they want you to do, that could hurt. But if he stays on the path, then good things are going to come from it. And just keeping our fingers crossed, obviously, that he'll be able to come back at some point this year. Because I know that Joe Musgrove's not the best pitcher in the league, and he may not be the best pitcher on the staff, talent wise. But for me, when I want someone that's like a competitor, a dog out there on that mound in the postseason, and Joe Musgrove is that guy. I've said it for years. If I want one person I want on the mound, may not be the most talented, but one person I want on the mound starting a must-win game in the postseason for the Padres, it's Joe Musgrove. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, rooting for you, Joe. Obviously, Padres fans, we're behind you, and just follow that rehab process because we want you healthy for October. To even if it's not starting, to contribute in some way, that's better than having no Joe Musgrove. Um, Darvish obviously seems like he would return sooner. The update there from Kevin Acee, he had that in his Padres Daily earlier today. Let me bring that up real quick. He has reached 150 feet in his catch play at Petco Park, could make a move to the mound in the coming days. His elbow continues to feel strong and pain-free, according to people in the organization. So, again, that's the Darvish update, 150 feet. So he's obviously way ahead, and it's not like he was coming back from Tommy John. So I don't know. We don't know exactly when he's going to come back. The Padres should be slow playing this because you want that long view in mind. It's April 7th, and you want Darvish to be good for the most important parts of the season because this Padres team has the talent to be a postseason team. And we know Preller's going to add before the deadline as long as they're in that position. And it's a good start right now, 9-2. So, yeah, I like what the Padres are doing here. It seems like they are really slow playing this. They're not rushing this with Darvish, and they're not going to rush it with Musgrove. And so, yeah, I feel good about both of those guys' process to coming back. And then for Jackson Merrill, I hope that he's out for the remainder of this A series, to be quite honest, and he's ready to go for Colorado.